Often the hottest women have been the most abused. They've never had to show up in any way. They're usually the least accountable, the most entitled, and the worst in bed.
Welcome to the Attractive Man Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Artisan. What's up, guys? Today I'm with Josiah Price, one of our top trainers here at the Attractive Man, as well as author of No More Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Robert Glover, who's going to drop a ton of knowledge on you today, including whether pickup advice is good or bad, whether it actually hurts you or harms you, whether it can really get you a hot girlfriend or not, and should you use that old cliche, fake it till you make it advice. And we're going to even talk about why you shouldn't date a hot woman. Sounds pretty crazy if you ask me, but let's dive right in.
Hey, Robert, I'd like to backtrack to something you said a minute ago, which I really love, your term, geeks with techniques. So when you got out, when you exited your second marriage and you were starting to date again and you found, actually tell us your journey, because for me personally, it was like I found the seduction community, and I'm pro fake it till you make it, because that's the path that I took. Now, had I had other options, I might have done something different, but at the time, that's all I had. So how was it for you? And what's your thoughts on fake it till you make it?
Yeah, okay, there's about 4 questions there. Let me see if I can kind of parse them apart. There's no right way to do this. There's really not. Now, my book, Dating Essentials for Men, I call it the Unpickup Guide to Dating Success. I have mixed feelings about traditional pickup. Now, when I became single, that was when pickup was just really beginning to explode. So, like everybody else, I read The Game, got, all of David D'Angelo's Double Your Dating stuff. What happened is all my clients that, I was working with in my private practice just started giving me stuff, books, DVDs. That was really kind of before like YouTube was so big, but there was a lot of resources out there. And so, I read The Game and, listened to some podcast interviews and then ended up getting interviewed by David D'Angelo and ended up getting interviewed by a lot of the people that I listened to. So there's a lot of good information out there, a lot of good psychological information that works in terms of interaction with the opposite sex. And my issue with pickup is that in the way that most ways it's taught. Now, here's one thing I've also noticed about pickup, because I've been able to watch it for 20 years. Most pickup artists evolve over time and kind of get to where, like, it really is about being authentic and, and the relationship aspect of it. Even Neil Strauss, wrote the Bible of pickup, to then writes another book that still looks like a Bible called The Truth, and it was all about finding relationship, right? So most of the guys were teaching pickup when I first got single, have evolved more into a social dynamic aspect of things. How to be authentic, how to be real, how to move your energy, how to be grounded, how to be embodied, how to set the tone and lead. All things that I think are really positive. But the parts that I don't like about pickup is that I believe fundamentally the way much of it's taught, I think is demeaning to both men and women. It often is based around teaching men, okay, here's how you get the hottest women out there. And I've never heard one pickup artist say, what is the benefit of getting the hottest woman out there? It's kind of like we just assume we all know what the benefit of that is. But there must be some benefit. So what is that benefit? In my mind, it's primarily egoic. It's the man going, look at me. I'm not such a loser. I got a hot woman. All the guys are going to think I'm great. And we think it's going to lead to amazing sex. We think, because that's male logic. If she's hot, she must be great in bed. In my personal experience, and I've talked with a lot of guys, I've talked with a lot of women, often the hottest women have been the most abused. They've never had to show up in any way. They're usually the least accountable, the most entitled, and the worst in bed. But because guys, we're physical, we're visual, we want that hot woman, and it'll make me feel like I'm okay. So I think it's demeaning to us and demeaning to them. It breaks most women down to just accumulation of body parts. The ones with the best genetic inheritance. All right, that's the one I got to get. And so it teaches how to pick up the most attractive woman in the room and go walk up and talk to her. I think that's fundamentally invasive. The approach I teach is that if you're just in a space, being yourself, and you notice the feminine noticing you, go talk, go approach, go do something. But just approaching a woman because you like her ass or you like her tits, I tell men, I think it's the worst possible reason to approach a woman. You know nothing about her. And guys will say, well, but she looks nice. No, stop lying to yourself. You like her tits, you like her ass. You think those tits will make your life better in some way. That's really what it keeps us in a really almost, 7-year-old view of women. Oh, if they have nice tits, they're going to make my life better. So I don't think there's a goddamn thing wrong with us being physically attracted to women or physically attracted to their body parts. I don't preach against it, but using that as our basis for deciding who we talk to and don't talk to, or who we want to go out with or don't want to go out with. And I've been doing relationship counseling for over 30 years. I just think it's the worst possible foundation to build anything long-term with. And as I said, contrary to guy logic, it's also usually the worst possible way to have a good time in bed. So with that said, again, I go back to helping men be their authentic selves, learning to soothe their anxiety, learning to get out of their comfort zones, learning to challenge themselves, learning to walk through the open doors that present themselves. If you're standing next to a woman in line at Starbucks and you just start a conversation and there's a mutual high interest there, yeah, get a phone number. If you're somewhere at a party with a group of friends, you notice a woman's looked at you a couple times, walk across the room and talk to her. But to just go be invasive because you like a woman's tits, there's a reason why #MeToo was so prominent. Women have been invaded by men all of their lives. And so I don't want to perpetuate that. But I do want to teach men how to walk through every open door of opportunity. And I'll bring it back to what my experience was. That's what amazed me. As I said, I couldn't believe what planet I'd landed on. Women were propositioning me. They were giving me phone numbers. They were getting naked on first and second dates. And I'm going, what's happening here? I didn't realize it worked like this. And really going back to what I think it was about, it's not because I was practicing pickup. It's not because I was hitting on the most attractive women in the room. It's not because I was the youngest, best looking, richest guy in the room. It's because I had a sense of self. Now, again, you guys began this by asking how old I am. I'm 64. My wife is 22 years younger than me. We're coming up on 4 years of marriage. And she's a fairly typical Latina in that she has that Latina jealousy. And she's actually, a really good, I don't know, barometer is the right word, but anyway, she is good at noticing women noticing me. Women walking in front of me, women bending over, kind of pointing their butt out, women bending over, giving a little cleavage, women touching my shoulder as they walk by. She's highly sensitive to that and lets me know it, all right? And so even at 64, right, I still draw that kind of energetic attention without me trying, right? I actually, I know how to attract and engage with women. I keep it toned down, right? I'm married. I don't want the attention or energy, and it still keeps coming to me. So I'm a big believer is that we don't have to, learn some poll question or clever pickup line and walk across the room and find the hottest woman and try to, get her phone number and get the number closed and go, yay, I got a number. She never calls you back and you never see her naked, but you got her number. I never had to resort to that. And again, it wasn't because I was the best looking guy in the room. So it just taught me there are more effective ways to draw the higher quality women into your life than using, the tricks that pickup teaches. Now, again, a piece that I do like about pickup is it gets men out of their comfort zone, and it often gives them a tribe. They find a group of men and they go out together and they go get out of their comfort zone and do the things that scare them. I'm actually a really big fan of that process, both of getting tribe, connecting with men, and getting out of your comfort zone. So I actually do like that dynamic that typically occurs in like a dating boot camp or something like that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem too is they're still nice guys, and pickup just gives them some lines and some things to do or say to look cool and sound cool, but underneath it all, they're still nice guys. They still have all these issues and baggage and traumas that they haven't dealt with yet. So it's just a Band-Aid over the real problem. And eventually, usually sooner rather than later, the woman figures it out. And
They do. Yeah.
Like he's really not as cool as he seems.
And the bottom line, they're not being themselves. You know, if the social dynamic that they're learning, is really about being their most bold, assertive self, I love that. But if it's about just being phony in a way that gets drunk 22-year-old women with lots of insecurities to give you a phone number, what have you really gained? And then, as you said, and then if the woman gets to know you and all of a sudden you still have these really underlying fears of, I'm not very interesting, I don't have anything to talk about, I'm just going to try to give her everything she wants and try to make her happy, they're soon going to get bored with all that anyway.
And then even if you do sleep with her, then it could give you a false sense of confidence. Like you feel great for a little while because you just slept with this gorgeous woman, but that's not going to last very long because it's not real confidence.
Hey man, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you can watch the other episodes from the Robert Glover interview, and make sure to hit that bell notification icon. And listen man, if you want to go deep and really get this part of your life handled, then I highly recommend either one of our live programs. I'll put a link to our bootcamp schedule down below. We're traveling all over the world and we help you become the best, most attractive version of yourself. So I recommend that you click the link down in the description to apply for a free breakthrough session where you'll hop on a phone call with one of our team members and we'll assess your situation. We'll see where you're at right now, where you want to be, and see if we can get you there in the fastest and easiest way possible. I'll put a link to it at the end of this video on the right side. So click that link and let's get this part of your life handled for good. And if you got questions, feel free to follow me and hit me up on Instagram. Send me a DM. I would love to chat with you. And leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know who else you'd love to see us interview, or any thoughts or ideas you have. Leave a comment. Again, my name is Matt Artisan from The Attractive Man, and I'll see you in the next video.